Hey everyone, I thought I'd do a specific video today on cortisol, a really important hormone when we're looking at different things like metabolism and immune function. And I hope today you can kind of clear up about what cortisol is, because there is a lot of junk out there about cortisol online, and really start to look after your body and making sure that that regulation is actually in place. So when we're looking at cortisol, wait for it, look at the quality of this. It's basically attached to the kidney. So you've got the kidney, and on top of the kidney is a nice little top hat called the adrenal gland. And the adrenal cortex, as part of the gland, is what releases the cortisol in response to different stimuli. So you may be wondering whether cortisol is good or bad, and it really depends on your levels of cortisol and how they're acting in the body. Now, over the day, cortisol generally peaks first thing in the morning, but then it'll go through peaks and troughs throughout the day. And that's very normal, and that's how we want to see cortisol reacting, depending on the different things that are instigating its release. Now, when you're looking at cortisol acutely and in its normal rhythms over the day, it can be extremely helpful. So cortisol is key in breaking down different proteins and fats to be used as energy. So basically it creates glucose to be used as energy. So at times where we may not have enough carbohydrate or blood glucose in the blood, it will actually be key in creating enough energy for the body to function and use every day. It also helps us regulate our immune system. So it actually is anti-inflammatory and pro-immune function in that peak and trough phase, and it can be a really good indicator that there might be an infection in place when cortisol levels are high. So that's a really big thing, in that normal day-to-day, its ability to increase blood glucose levels and manage those things are actually a real positive. Now, what we see as a negative is if someone has a high cortisol that's chronically elevated. So in times of stress, basically cortisol is your stress response, and cortisol will increase the higher stress you have. So to understand this, think about all the different stresses that you place on the body and what could create high cortisol. And that's where you then are able to work out what's causing that chronic increase in cortisol. So when we're talking stress, particularly in the active individual, but also day to day, no matter how active you are, you're looking at different things like stress over the day from work, family commitments, those types of things. Poor sleep habits, but also when you're looking at stress in the active individual, you're looking at the stress caused by exercise-induced stress. If you're overtraining, if you're training in a dehydrated state, if you're not eating adequate carbohydrate, if you're not recovering properly, if you're got micronutrient deficiencies or energy deficiency in general, your cortisol is going to be elevated. So when you're looking at all those, you actually find that that negative effect of cortisol can actually be negated by looking after your recovery. So, eating adequate carbohydrates and proteins after your really important sessions, and looking after your recovery, not just immediately after the session, but in following meals and snacks. Even though a lot of the time we do actually try and put your body into stress to drive adaptation and to drive performance, it's important that that's only acute and in key phases of your training, because over time, if you consistently do that and you're always in a state of stress, your cortisol is actually going to work back from there and actually give you those real negative effects. So if cortisol is consistently high, what can you expect those symptoms to be? So if cortisol is extremely high, some of those benefits that we feel from cortisol when it's in its normal rhythm can actually become real negative. So that anti-inflammatory response, that immune function response, can actually be dulled when it's always high, and that risk of illness, which I think many of us have actually felt after a really big training block, we often get sick. That probably is a really close relationship to cortisol levels and its influence on the immune system. It also, because it's got a protein breakdown effect, it can lead to muscle mass loss, and that's a really important thing to remember, is that rest and recovery and not overtraining is a really important part to actually improving recovery, improving performance, So there are all really big things to remember. It can also increase appetite and also increase fat storage. So, all those influences on our metabolism are such a big thing to remember when we're thinking about cortisol. As you can see, cortisol is such a critical part in our health, but also in our training and performance. So I'm really glad that we kind of sat down, really looked into cortisol, and hopefully can help you in this video. Thank you.